Hey guys, so just before I start this video off, I want to let you know that the footage you're looking at is from my Mavic Pro, and for some reason it looks a little blurry and out of focus, and maybe because I'm flying when the sun is going down, but for some reason this has been happening to me ever since I first got it. So let me know if this has been happening to you guys. I might have to send mine out for repair, just because it always seems out of focus, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. So anyway, on to the video. What's going on, guys? Billy here, and welcome back to another episode of Tech Talk Tuesday, the commentary series where I sit down and talk about anything technology related. Now today we're going to be looking at the Mavic Pro, and the main topic we're going to be focusing on is it a good starter drone? I feel like when a lot of people try to classify drones as starter drones, they only look at the price point, and they don't look at all the other features that are included. For example, if we compare something like the Phantom 3 and the Mavic Pro, of course a lot of people will say that the Phantom 3 is more of a starter drone, but the reason that the Mavic Pro is twice as expensive as the Phantom 3 standard is because of all the different features that it comes with. I see a lot of people throughout the forums suggesting that beginner pilots get a less expensive drone, such as a Phantom 3 standard, or maybe even something that's less expensive, somewhere between the $100 and $200 range, just so they can get their feet wet. Their whole idea is that if you go out and buy a cheap drone and you crash it, it's no big deal. It was just, $200. I'll just go out and buy another one. But at that point, I feel like you're just throwing money away. And I'm kind of alluding to a quote that my mom always says, which is, if you buy it cheap, you buy it twice. In this case, let's say the drone that someone is looking at is the Mavic Pro, and that's the drone that they pretty much want to eventually upgrade to, but they don't want to spend all $1,000 and then end up crashing it. So their whole thing is that they want to go out and buy a Phantom 3 standard, spend $500 and learn to fly with that. Well, then you're going to end up spending $1,500 when you could have just went out and bought the Mavic Pro first. There are a few things about the Mavic Pro that make it a really good starter drone. The first thing is beginner mode, and although that this is pretty much offered throughout all of DJI's products, whether you have the Phantom 4, the Phantom 4 Pro, Phantom 3, or even the Mavic Pro, you can enable beginner mode, which will pretty much limit how far you can fly your drone as well as how fast you can fly your drone. This is the way that I learned to fly my first drone, which was the Phantom 4, and honestly, I'm super happy that DJI has that included with all of their drones. Another huge thing that makes the Mavic Pro a good starter drone is the obstacle avoidance sensors found on the front as well as along the bottom. This will help the drone not run into anything when you're flying. Although a lot of people say that they don't need the obstacle avoidance sensors just because they always try to avoid objects on their own, I do have to say that this has come in handy 2 or 3 times when I first started flying my drone. There was a couple times where I really wasn't paying enough attention, and it really did end up saving me. And therefore, if I started out with a Phantom 3, I probably would have lost my drone. The last comparison I have for you guys between the Phantom 3 standard and the Mavic Pro is that they're both made for different customers. Now if we look at DJI's website, they really say nothing about the Phantom 3 standard being a starter drone. It's really there for people who maybe aren't that into drone flying. It doesn't have all the tech packed into the Mavic Pro, but again, it's just there for someone who would like to have a drone and just kind of mess around in the backyard or have fun with friends and family. If you're looking to get the Mavic Pro, I would say that you're probably a more serious drone flyer looking to pack it up and take it around with you just because of how portable it is. Really, the point that I'm trying to work up to throughout this whole video is that the Mavic Pro is, yes, a good starter drone, but so is the Phantom 3 standard, and so is the Phantom 4 and even the Phantom 4 Pro. I would have to say that the best starter drone is the one that you have your eyes on. Once you get that drone, you can always learn how to fly with it and then from there grow into it. For example, with the Mavic Pro, you can start around flying out in beginner mode and then from there move all the way up to sport mode and even look at some of the intelligent flight modes. So you definitely have a lot of room to grow. On the other hand, with the Phantom 3 standard, there's only so much you can do. There's not a lot of bells, whistles, and features. Therefore, there's not a lot of room to grow and you'll probably be wanting to upgrade as some of the newer drones have some awesome features. Another thing I do want to point out is that you don't need to go out and buy drones like you buy cell phones. A lot of people will always upgrade their cell phone after 1 or 2 years, but it's totally not the case with a drone. You can buy one and literally have that for years to come. Before I wrap this video up, there is one thing I do want to mention, and that is the Inspire series is definitely not a good line of drones to start out with. I know I said that any drone is a good starter drone, but the Inspire series is kind of in a whole different realm. No one wants to spend over $3,000 on their first Inspire 2 and then just end up crashing it. So I'd always recommend having previous flight experience before buying an Inspire drone. So guys, that about wraps this video up. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new around here, as I have been trying to upload daily. Also, leave a comment down below letting me know what your first drone was. Did you start with the Mavic Pro or was it something else? But as I said, this video is coming to an end and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.